Before this video begins, I just want to say if you're interested in any sort of Harry Potter mocks or even Star Wars mocks, and some instructions even being free, go and look at my website below, tommycbricks.com. I sell a lot of instructions over there of models I've made and tested. If you're interested in any of that, go and check the link below. Sorry about that, on with the video. So, you've just bought your new favourite LEGO set of this year, and you've finished building it and you love it to pieces. And instead of just letting it sit there and gather dust on a shelf, you think to yourself, what can I add to this to make the building experience and just this LEGO set a bit more fun? And usually with display sets, there's two options. You either buy yourself a display case or you buy yourself a lighting kit. But if you can only buy one, which one do you get? Now, most people would scream, oh, it's a display set, so you need to buy a display case for it. However, I do feel like sometimes adding lights to a LEGO set can really elevate its life and its wow factor, and there are many companies that do light kits and display cases. And although this video isn't really delving into the difference between companies or anything like that, I do feel like this is a conversation worth bringing up as we've just had it on our Discord server. I also want to talk about my opinions in this matter, as I feel like even though it's not directly tailored towards LEGO, it's one of those things that a lot of people in this community, especially in the adult community, would be interested in having this conversation, especially in the comment section. I'd greatly like to know your opinion. And I also just want to say that this video isn't sponsored by any of these companies, but if they want to sponsor me, the business email's in my about section. Please sponsor me, I'd like to work with you. Now, obviously with this video, we have to eliminate a few factors here, starting with the fact that most people have an idea of where they're going to put their LEGO set when they're done, whether it be a glass cabinet, a Billy bookcase, or just a random shelf. I'm going to eliminate glass cabinets, and I think a lot of people have those who are in the adult community, but I think this video is going to be more of an interesting topic for those who just have a random shelf and they just have their LEGO sat on a shelf. Now let's start with display cases. What are the pros, what are the cons? Let's get right into it. Now with display cases, I really do feel like the biggest pro is the fact that it keeps your LEGO dust free. Now dust can really be one of those really annoying things that you have to go in once a month and dust your LEGO sets, and pretty much all of these companies offer a enclosed option with most of their displays, meaning you can get a nice acrylic box that will keep your LEGO sets dust free and actually UV protected, as acrylic can absorb most of the UV rays, preventing things like sun damage. Now of course I'm not saying that you can put your LEGO sets in an acrylic box and just put it on the windowsill. That's not going to help you at all, but having that little bit of UV protection definitely does help in the long run. Another pro about acrylic cases is the fact that you can usually get some form of nice backdrop from specific companies, or if you're having it as a sort of centerpiece for your home, you can leave the box fully open, which means you can see it from every angle. This beats out putting them on shelves where you can really only see them from one angle, especially those bookcases. I know a lot of people put LEGO sets on bookcases. It sort of covers it up and you can only see the LEGO set from one angle. Putting it in an acrylic box where you can walk all the way around it means that you can appreciate the set more from all angles. And especially with LEGO sets going down this more dollhouse style, especially in their buildings, it's really going to be difficult to, say, capture the essence of the Hogwarts castle where you can only see it from one angle. Being it in a display case makes it easy to pick up, turn it round for future display options, or if it's the centerpiece of the home, just being able to walk right around the thing and appreciate it from all angles. Now, the problems I see with display cases, again, are very set driven. Depending on what set you're buying or what you're doing with your sets can determine whether you're buying a case or not. Obviously, if you're making a LEGO city, then you're not really going to want to invest in something like a display case, as you want to put multiple buildings on the display, meaning that you won't be able to find an acrylic box big enough, or having an acrylic box that you can fit over your entire city would be very expensive, and that also could be seen as one of the cons. Personally, I don't really see it as much of one because I understand that acrylic can be very expensive, but I also do understand the point that if you've just gone out and bought the £350 Hogwarts castle, you then don't want to spend 130 quid on a box to put it in. However, like I say, I do think it's one of those things that if you're buying such an expensive set that you want to keep protected, warranting something like a display case, you will either put it somewhere where it's going to be 1, very dust free, or 2, buy a display case when you possibly can afford to do so. And unfortunately, I can't tell you whether that's worth it or not. Obviously, everyone is very subjective to the LEGO sets that they really like. As we found out from many of my comment sections, some people like the sets that I don't. So I would say treat those cons very loosely. Most of the time, buying a display case is a good decision, especially when you want to keep your prized LEGO sets that you've just spent a lot of money on protected. But now moving on to lighting. And now lighting is one of the best things that I can say really does give LEGO new life. When you've built a LEGO set and you can see that something really should be lit up, like take the blacksmith shop for example. They use that awful LEGO element, which is the light brick. I personally really don't like them, as lighting companies have been making flickering effects boards and stuff like that in tiny battery cases for a long time. I understand it's difficult to fit inside of something like a LEGO brick, but I really do think LEGO could make something a lot better than the brick they currently have. And that's why I love lighting kits so much. I really do think they add that extra value. Talking about one of the pros of lighting kits, it makes your sets look beautiful. Adding that extra lighting definitely does sell and arguably bring more value to your LEGO sets. Looking at any lit up LEGO city will be able to tell you that. Usually it brings that little bit of extra wow factor to a new set that you've just bought, or an old one that you want to get off the shelf, wipe the dust off, and just have a little bit of extra time taking it apart and putting it back together to create something a lot nicer. And it even extends to just decorating your home. Even if you're a casual collector and you have a few LEGO sets, some people coming over and just looking at your LEGO collection, they would go, oh, that looks nice. But if it was lit up, they would definitely go, whoa, what is that? And it would also draw their eye more towards your ornaments around your home. Like I say, it brings that little bit of extra life to your LEGO. But moving on to the cons of lighting kits, they can sometimes be incredibly difficult to install. Now, I'm not saying all of them are, but large-scale lighting kits should definitely not be attempted by somebody who's a first-time buyer of LEGO lighting kits, as most of the time it requires you actually disassemble some of your model to actually install the lighting kit. But I must say that after you have installed it, the reward of having it all lit up definitely outweighs the pain, resulting in a LEGO set that is a lot more alive and a lot more animated, as most of these lighting kits have special boards attached to them that allow certain effects or animations and even sound now. And even though I don't really think it's one of those cases where you'll be having it turned on all the time, I do think it's one of those cases where you can literally turn it on when the family comes over, or have it on in the background, or have it just turn on at night for your personal enjoyment. I really do think it creates, like I say, a nicer life for your LEGO sets. As for buying one or the other, I really think it comes down to the sets. Honestly, if it's any sort of vehicle or building that's going to go in a city, I definitely recommend getting a light kit over something like a display case. Honestly, it's not going to be one of those things that you ever put in a display case, so you might as well light it up and actually have a bit of fun with it. Yes, sometimes with buildings you'll be installing a lot of lights, but the reward will definitely outweigh the complexity of trying to install the kit, trust me. As for one of those one-off sets that you buy from time to time, or those really expensive D2C ones, stuff like the Hogwarts Castle, the Daily Bugle if you're not going to put it in something like a city, any of the large creator cars, even stuff like the Star Wars UCS ships or the big NASA space shuttle. Those ones I definitely think deserve something like the display case first, and then if you want to later on down the line, you can then light up if you really want to. Like I say, it's one of those things that you really have to look at it from circumstance to circumstance, and it also depends how much you like the set. Some of it is going to be very subjective, but let me know your opinions in the comments section below. A special thanks to Shy Time Is My Time, Bid, Tommy Rich, Zero Fox Given, Pixel Craftian, Rosie Alpaca, Brother from Another Brick, Vicinity, Revenge, Brightest Witch Bricks, Miles Hinsley, Dustin Martin, iLazyBoy, and Tech Productions for helping support the channel thus far. That's all I have time for today, guys, and I will speak to you guys in the next one. Goodbye.